Dear participants, esteemed speakers, and valued viewers, my name is Judit Regos. I am the president of the Parents House Public Benefit Foundation from Hungary and the co-founder of For Families Group Europe, which we established together with Madeleine Wallin, the president of the Swedish HARO. It is our great pleasure to welcome you to this virtual side event of the Second World Summit for Social Development in Doha. Today, we aim to explore how strong family support system across Europe can contribute to a healthier, more resilient future generation and to find inspiration in the inclusive practices and innovative opportunities. This year's summit is particularly meaningful as it marks the 13th anniversary of the 1995 Copenhagen Declaration, when world leaders first declared the people must be at the center of development. We hope that our viewers and participants will leave with actionable ideas and policy recommendations to better support families and children worldwide. Now, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all our distinguished speakers and to thank them for their tireless work and dedication to making this world a better place for all of us. And now, I kindly invite you to listen the opening speech of Dr. Zsófia Konc, State Secretary for Family Affairs in Hungary. I am deeply grateful to Dr. Zsófia Konc, State Secretary for Family Affairs of Hungary, whose vision and leadership have shaped a family policy model that places human dignity, security, and generational continuity at its heart. Her work reminds us that governments can and must create environments where families can flourish, where motherhood and fatherhood are supported, and where the next generation is given hope. Her Excellency, Dr. Zsófia Konc, the floor is yours.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, please allow me on behalf of the Government of Hungary to greet you and share a few thoughts with the participants of the side event entitled From European Experiences to Global Solutions, Well-being of Families, Social Inclusion and Sustainable Growth. In 2010, Hungary underwent a family-friendly policy turn. Since then, together with the Hungarian people, we have built a system that places families at the heart of our nation's renewal. We believe that if families are strong, the society is strong, and so is the country. At the beginning of our governance in 2010, Hungary faced very high unemployment. Today, in a country of fewer than 10 million people, 1 million more have jobs than before. We are particularly proud that women's employment has increased at one of the fastest rates in Europe. The employment rate of women raising young children has risen from 66% to 80%, and Hungary now ranks among the top 7 European Union member states with the best indicators for female unemployment. Our family policy aims to enable women and mothers to fulfill both their family and professional roles. Therefore, women under the age of 30 having children enjoy full exemption from personal income tax. We have introduced the grandparent child care benefit and the infant care benefit extra. The Women 40 program allows women to retire regardless of age of after 40 years of work and child rearing. This year, we have launched Europe's largest family tax reduction program. In 2 phases, we are doubling the tax benefit for children. Since October, mothers of 3 children are granted lifelong full exemption from personal income tax, and starting in January 2026, this measure will gradually be extended to mothers of 2 children. This is a unique action even on global scale. However, the family-friendly approach is not only present in homes, but also in workplaces. Over the past 15 years, we have doubled the number of nursery places, and more workplaces are becoming family-friendly each year. Through the annual Family Friendly Workplace Award, more than 760 companies have received recognition so far. In October, we also introduced our latest publication entitled Family Friendly Sustainability, which provides companies with a unique Hungary-specific guide on how to align environmental, social, and governance considerations in a way that strengthens families. This idea perfectly reflects the Hungarian approach. For us, sustainability is not only an ecological issue, but also a community and family one. Dear ladies and gentlemen, we believe that economic growth must serve families, not the other way around. Creating a dignified balance between family, community, and work is one of our most important tasks, not only in Hungary, but worldwide. That is also the reason why it is such an honor for us to take part today in this side event of the Second World Summit for Social Development, where we can exchange ideas on how European experiences can be transformed into truly global solutions. I am convinced that strengthening families, supporting women, and developing communities are the keys to ensuring the future generations can grow up in a healthier, happier, and more sustainable world. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all an inspiring discussion and many shared successes.
Thank you, Ms. Zsófia Koncz, about your inspirational words. Let us continue our journey through Europe as we welcome Mr. Péter Pálóci, Hungarian ambassador to Sweden, to deliver his message. His efforts have strengthened European dialogue on family policy, connecting Nordic experience with Central European innovations.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants, my name is Péter Pálóci and I am the ambassador of Hungary in Stockholm. I also warmly welcome you to this conference, this virtual session on family issues in the framework of the Second World Summit for Social Development. After my first couple of months in Stockholm, I started to realize that we might have more in common than one might expect, and among the common challenges and projects could be the family issues and to tackle together demographic challenges. As you very well know, this affects all of us, most countries, and particularly in Europe, which is a great concern of us. And I very much welcome this discussion where we could find solutions together. As you very well know, Hungary is in the forefront when it comes to tackling demographic challenges and family policies, building family policies around this area where we can find solutions to stopping the declining birth rates. In our presidency, in the Hungarian presidency of the Council in 2024, this was one of our priorities, as well as we consider this very close connected to competitiveness, which is the greatest challenge of Europe, according to us. And this is a challenge which affects all of us. That's why, which is related to competitiveness, family issues, and tackling declining birth rates, I very much welcome that the Swedish government launched an inquiry this summer regarding demographic trends, what can affect birth rates, and the recent demographic challenges, which also obviously Sweden faces. We also welcome the remarks of Deputy Prime Minister Babush, who was open to witness and explore the Hungarian family schemes, such as the tax incentives and tax reliefs for women who want to have children, because we are all in the hands of women who say yes to having children, and this will be the future of our nations and families. We also welcomed Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson's remarks, where he said that long-term implications, demographic challenges have long-term implications which put a big pressure on the social and welfare systems, and that's why it's a common challenge to tackle them. This conference can show that we can do something together, we can do something effectively together. That's why I very much welcome this opportunity, and I very much encourage you all to take part in the discussions and to work together in finding best practices and methods when we can stopping the declining birth rates and save Europe and let the children be born and work together in this noble project. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador Péter Pálóczy, for your valuable words. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Camilla Rinaldo Miller, Family and Equality Policy Spokesperson for the Christian Democrats in the Swedish Parliament, to address the audience. She demonstrates through her work that gender equality and family protection are not opposing forces, but two sides of the same social vision. She reminds us that true equality is achieved when both women and men are free to live their roles fully in family life and in the work and in the society.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored to speak with you today about family policy, the role of the family in society, and some recent initiatives in Sweden to give children and parents more time together and stronger relationships. When we talk about family policy, we are really talking about something that connects us all, the family. The family is the first community every person belongs to. It is where children feel safe. It is where they learn responsibility. It is where they first experience love. Strong families make strong citizens. Strong citizens make strong societies. Good family policy is not just about money or services. It is about supporting the relationships that give life meaning. In Sweden, we have taken steps to support families with time and flexibility. One important change is that parents can give some of their parental leave to a close relative, a grandparent, partner, or trusted adult can help care for the child. This shows that family is bigger than just the parents who live at home. Another reform is the double days, where both parents can stay home together in the first month of the child's life. This strengthens bonds, supports equal parenting, and helps children feel secure. These changes are simple, but important. Time spent together in the first years is not luxury, it is essential. But still there is more to do. Family policy should focus on quality, not quantity. Children should be seen and heard. Children's group in preschool should be small enough to give attention and care for the children. Parents should have freedom to decide what works best for their family. These are not restrictions. They are investments in relationships. Family policy is about more than rules or systems. It is about the values that shape society. It is about solidarity, across generations. It is about respect for life at every stage. It is about children having adults who are present and caring. Christian Democrats believe that every person is unique and irreplaceable. The family is the first place where this is lived out. It is where human dignity is confirmed. It is where love grows. It is where society future begins. Let us work together across nations to protect families' freedom, time, and dignity. Family policy is not just about survival. It is about living and living together. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Camilla, for your thoughtful and informative messages. Now, it is my honor to introduce Mr. Árpád Mészáros, Vice President of the Maria Kopp Institute for Demography and Families in Hungary, who will share his insights on European family policy and gender equality. The institution provides the scientific backbone of Hungary's family policy, showing through data and research that supporting families is not just a moral act, but a strategic investment in health, well-being, and the future workforce.
Dear Excellencies, distinguished organizers, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to participate in this important side event held in connection with the Second World Conference on Social Development. Let me begin by expressing our appreciation to the organizers, the Parents' House Public Benefit Foundation Hungary and HARO Sweden, for bringing together experts and policymakers from all over the world to reflect on how social development can be rooted in strong families, cohesive communities and sustainable societies. At the Maria Kopp Institute for Demography and Families, Kincs, we are committed to the idea that family well-being is the cornerstone of social sustainability. Founded in 2018, our institute conducts interdisciplinary research on demographic change, family policy, and equality between women and men across Europe. Our experience and data show that investing in families is not only a social or moral choice, it is also an economic and demographic necessity. Europe faces a profound demographic challenge. Across the European Union, fertility rates have fallen by 11% between 2011 and 2023, according to the Eurostat, the statistical office of the EU. Yet within this general decline, Hungary stands out as a success story. Our total fertility rate increased from 1.23 to 1.55, the largest rise among EU member states. Between 2010 and 2023, Hungary moved from the bottom of the EU fertility ranking to the third place. At the same time, the number of live births per 1,000 women of childbearing age rose by nearly 9% in Hungary, while the EU average fell by over 11%. This reversal was made possible by targeted, predictable, and family-centered public policies, including the baby expecting subsidy, personal income tax exemption for mothers under 30, and student loan waiver for young parents. These measures reflect a comprehensive approach. We support those who choose family life, as support towards the family is an investment into the future of a nation. Another challenge in Europe is the decline in marriages and the growing number of children born outside stable partnership. Between 2011 and 2023, the EU's crude marriage rate dropped from 4.2 to 4.0 per thousand people. Yet in Hungary, the trend is the opposite. The number of marriages has grown, reaching 5.2 per thousand inhabitants, one of the highest figures in Europe. Even more importantly, 3 out of 4 Hungarian children are now born within marriage, up from every second child in 2010. This 16% increase is unique in the EU, where the average share of children born to married parents declined by about 6%. This turnaround was supported by fiscal and social policies such as tax benefits for young married couples, the baby loan, and the full income tax exemption for mothers with 4 and very recently 3 or more children. Our experience shows that when family formation is socially valued and economically supported, marriage and childbearing are strengthened together. Demographic sustainability also depends on healthy and active older generations. Back in 2010, Hungary had one of the lowest figures for healthy life expectancy in the EU, 57.5 years. Today, the figure has risen to 63.3 years, exceeding the EU average of 62.3. This is the second largest improvement in the Union. Thanks to better healthcare access, preventive programs, and family support systems, older Hungarians can spend more years in good health, contributing to their families and communities. As we often say in Hungary, a long and healthy life begins in a supportive family. Intergenerational solidarity between children, parents, and grandparents remains one of the most powerful assets of social cohesion. Many European countries seek to address population decline through immigration. Hungary, however, has chosen a different path. We believe that demographic renewal should primarily rely on our own citizens and communities. Today, about 23% of all births in the EU are to mothers born abroad, and 2/3 of them originate from outside of the Union. By contrast, in Hungary, only 5% of live births are to foreign-born mothers. This policy choice is not about isolation, but about cultural continuity and social stability. This might be a more difficult choice, but one that strengthens belonging and preserves identity. One of the key conditions for family formation is secure housing. In the last decade, Hungary has implemented a wide range of family housing subsidies, including the Family Housing Allowance, CSOK, CSOK Plus, and the Home Start program now. As a result, the proportion of people living in owner-occupied housing rose to 91.6%, one of the highest in the EU, while the European average has decreased to 68%. At the same time, household energy costs have been reduced from 7.4% of total spending in 2010 to just 3.5% in 2023, the fourth lowest ratio in the EU. Affordable housing and reduced utility burdens create real security for families and encourage young people to start life in their own homes. Family policy is not only about children. It is also about women's opportunities and equality. In Hungary, the employment rate among people aged 20 and 64 has grown by 15 percentage points since 2010, one of the largest increases in Europe. The greatest progress has been achieved among mothers with small children. Their employment rate has tripled since 2010 and now exceeds the EU average. This was made possible through flexible family benefits, such as extended maternity and parental leave up to 3 years per child, double the EU average, childcare fee, and the expansion of nursery and kindergarten places. Nursery fees in Hungary are less than half of the EU average, and many families are exempt from paying them. These policies embody our belief that women should not have to choose between work and family. They should have the freedom to pursue both. All these measures share a common vision. Families are not a private matter, but a public good. When families thrive, societies become more inclusive, more cohesive, and more resilient. Family policy, gender equality, and social inclusions are not opposing goals. They reinforce one another when grounded in respect for human dignity and the complementarity of men and women. At Kinch, our research, including the European Family Policy Outlook 2024 and Demography and Competitiveness in the European Union 2024 volumes, demonstrate that strong family policies are positively correlated with higher fertility, better employment rates for women, and greater overall well-being. In other words, demographic renewal and gender equality can go hand in hand if policy is family-friendly rather than family-neutral. Distinguished participants, to conclude, I would like to express that Hungarian experience confirms that social progress begins at home, in the stability of families, the dignity of work, and the solidarity between generations. As Europe seeks sustainable pathways for its future, we believe that family policy should be at the heart of social development, not as an afterthought, but as a cornerstone. Allow me to close with the words of our institute's namesake, Professor Maria Kopp, a pioneering psychologist and family researcher. Having children and raising them responsibly is the most important investment in the future. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you fruitful discussions for our common future.
Thank you, Arpad, for the informative presentation you shared with us today. In this next segment, I would like to take the opportunity to share with you what I personally believe in. The distinguished delegates, esteemed colleagues, and dear friends from all around the world, it is a great honor to welcome you to this online side event organized by the Parents' House Public Benefit Foundation in Hungary in cooperation with HARO, Sweden, as part of the Second World Summit for Social Development in Doha. My name is Judith Regos. I am the president of the Parents' House Public Benefit Foundation in Hungary and the co-founder of For Families Group Europe. As a social policy expert, as a community builder, and as a mother of four, I have learned that the strength of a nation, and indeed of our world, begins in the everyday acts of care, trust, and togetherness that take place inside families. I would like to add that for me, this is not only a professional topic, but a deeply personal mission. The Parent House model was built around the idea that families are the foundation of social development. Supporting parents means protecting children, and this protection must always respect cultural identity and human dignity and equal opportunity for every family member. This year's summit is particularly meaningful as it marks the 13th anniversary of the 1995 Copenhagen Declaration, when world leaders first declared that people must be at the center of the development. 30 years later, we gather again in a time of change and uncertainty to reaffirm a timeless truth. Social development begins in the family. The Parent House program was established in Hungary and grew from real-life experience. We learned that parents need not only public services, but also community, respect, and understanding. This is why our work combines education, mental health, and social inclusion, always focusing on the development of both children and parents, and equal opportunities for the women and men, and girls and the boys. As Mother Teresa so beautifully said, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. That simple message carries a deep universal truth. because when there is peace in the family, there can be peace in the community, and from that peace, nations can heal. The family is where we first learn dialogue, empathy, and forgiveness, the very foundation of peace building. A peaceful family creates peaceful citizens, and peaceful citizens build peaceful societies. The For Families Group Europe is a growing European alliance built on human-centered values, dignity, equality, and solidarity. We work within the UN and EU frameworks to ensure that families, parents, and children remain at the heart of sustainable development. Alongside the Parents' House Foundation in Hungary and HARO in Sweden, FFGE promotes European people-centered approaches showing how care, inclusion, and shared responsibility can strengthen communities and advance the SDGs. Our goal is to make these European values visible and stronger worldwide, and to invite others to join this journey, to connect, to exchange knowledge, and to keep family and human dignity at the center of social progress. Our mission is rooted in SDG 17, partnerships for the goals, because we know that the well-being of families cannot be achieved by one actor alone. It takes cooperation among governments, NGOs, academia, and communities, a partnership of compassion and commitment. Through the FFGE, we translate European experiences into global learning, the Hungarian Parents' House model, the Swedish approach to gender balance, the British advocacy for unpaid care work, and the Southern European support for large families. These are not isolated projects, they are parts of a living ecosystem of solidarity. Europe's contribution to this global dialogue lies not only in its policy experience, but in its heritage of values. From ancient Greek democracy, we inherited the idea that every voice matters and that community well-being depends on participations, and shared responsibility. From Roman law, we learn justice and the protection of human and family rights. From the Judeo-Christian heritage, we learned the sacredness of human dignity, compassion for the vulnerable people, and the duty to care for one another across generations. These are not relics of the past. They are the roots of our modern human rights system and the ethical foundation of the United Nations itself. The For Families Group Europe represents the belief that family support is the heart of achieving equality, resilience in our societies. Within this platform, the Parents' House model stands as an example of how social innovation can artists from compassion and understanding. Families are the heart of every sustainable development goal. When families are strong, children grow up happier and healthier. In a harmonious family setting, all voices are heard, and boys and girls, women and men have equal opportunities. Fairness and inclusion also being at home. Every family member learns to value and respect one another and to tolerate differences with patience and kindness. Working together for common goals as a family is also an essential part of everyday life. It lays down the foundation of partnerships, prepares for responsibilities within the community, and paves the road for children to become valued members of society. In this sense, family is not only a private sphere. In this sense, family is not only a private sphere, it is a catalyst of sustainable development and a living engine also that drives progress across generations. In this tradition, the family is not a closed circle, but a community of care, a place where solidarity is practiced and where we first learn what dialogue means. The family teaches us how to listen and how to forgive. It is our lesson in coexistence. It is where we learn democracy in its most human form, through love and responsibility. Human dignity is the essence of our work. Whether we support mothers, fathers, or children, we see them as equal partners in growth. Gender equality, development, and family well-being cannot be separated. They are part of one human story. In the European understanding, motherhood and fatherhood are both forces of creation and peace. We honor motherhood not a passive satisfice, but as an active, creative power, a form of leadership that nurtures life, empathy, and recognition. We honor fatherhood not only as provision, but a protection, moral presence, and emotional strength. When mothers, fathers work together, equality becomes partnership, and that partnership becomes peace. As Mother Teresa reminded us, the call to love our family is the beginning of social transformation. When there is harmony at home, there is harmony in the world. When a mother is respected and the father is present, children learn the language of care, and that language becomes the foundation of peace. Across Europe, we see the principle alive in practice. The Parent House program in Hungary provides inclusive community spaces that strengthening parenting skills, mental health, and early childhood development, recognized by the European Union as a best practice and recommended by the World Bank. It is now adopted in Ghana and Morocco, where it serves as a bridge between European know-how and local cultural values. Whenever the model is adapted, we start by listening. We respect local traditions and gender roles, ensuring that our support is culturally noted. We believe that meaningful change must come from within the community. In Sweden, the HARO model advocates for equal parental rights and freedom of choice, supporting both women's empowerment and men's participation in care. In the United Kingdom, Mothers at Home Matter and FIFAF ensure that unpaid care work, the invisible foundation of society, becomes visible and valued. In Spain, ELFAC represents large families who sustain demographic and cultural continuity. And across Central Europe, the Association of Family Organization in the Carpathian Basin builds unity across borders, providing the cooperation among families can transcend differences of nation and faith. Together, these and other valuable organizations, such as the Single Parent Center and the Rural Women Association, Women in Science Organization, demonstrates that sustainable development begins with the smallest unit of society, the family. Distinguished colleagues, dear friends, if we wish to achieve the sustainable development goals, health, equality, inclusion, and peace, we must begin not with institutions, but with relationships. The family is the first place and most enduring social institution. It is where we experience both vulnerability and strength, where we learn empathy, resilience, and justice. The family is where we first practice the art of dialogue, and dialogue is the essence of democracy and peace. The For Families Group Europe stands for conviction. We bring together civil society and governments to share evidence-based, community-driven models that demonstrate how care, equality, and partnership can transform lives. Because when we invest in families, we invest in humanity itself. Because when families are loved and supported, societies became human. When families live in peace, the world became safer. And when we, as civil organizations, policymakers, leaders, and citizens, protect and upfit families, we give future generation the greatest gift of all, hope and opportunity. Thank you for everybody for your attention. And now I am especially honored to greet Ms. Madeleine Wallin, President of HARO from Sweden, and my dear friend and partner as co-founder in the For Families Group Europe. Madeleine's work for decades has embodied the HARO model that advocates for equal parental rights and freedom of choice, supporting both women's empowerment and men's participation in care. She is an advocate for empowering parents with the child in focus, supporting parents' rights as well as the needs of children. Madeleine, the floor is yours.
Distinguished delegates and dear colleagues, I am delighted to speak at this important summit among those who care deeply about families, children, and the future of our societies. Sweden is a country often seen as a pioneer in social development. We are known for our equality, our welfare system, and our strong social trust. I have a deep love for my country, but today I will bring a critical perspective of how it handles these matters. When I grew up, I felt that the state was almost like a family, caring for us, guiding us, taking responsibility when needed. My trust was deep. That trust, the trust between citizens and the trust in the state, has been one of the greatest strengths of the Nordic countries. Some even call it the Nordic gold. Recently, I attended a conference hosted by the Nordic Council of Ministers titled Nordic Trust in a Changing World. And one message was clear: trust is declining. People trust governments less, institutions less, and each other less. But one question was never asked: do our governments still trust their citizens? has that trust too begun to fade. Much of Sweden's strong social trust grew from the vision of folkhemmet, the people's home. It was introduced in 1928 and imagined a country like a big, caring family, where everyone was included, supported and treated equally. A society structured as a home where no one should be left behind. It was a beautiful and noble dream, and it shaped Sweden for decades to come. But it was also the point where the state began to step into people's private lives on both good and challenging terms. From the 1930s to the 1970s, this idea shaped Sweden's great social reforms, improving living conditions and inspiring the world. In those early days, the family was seen as the foundation of society, the very heart of people's home. But from the 1970s and onward, the focus has gradually shifted. The welfare state began to see individuals rather than families as the primary unit of society. Independence replaced interdependence. Women were strongly encouraged to work and wanted to as well. New reforms followed, joint taxation was removed, childcare expanded and parental leave introduced, all to promote equality and financial independence. What was once the cornerstone of the social fabric has gradually been overshadowed by the pursuit of individual autonomy. Freedom grew, but the family's role weakened. Today we stand at a crossroads. Our intentions remain good, but something essential has been lost along the way. Welfare systems are valuable, yet when the state takes over responsibilities that belong to families and individuals, society begins to lose its foundation. Sweden's family policies are built on support and equality. We want every child to have equal opportunities and every parent to participate fully in society. Work-life balance and gender equality remain central, yet families continue to weaken in the name of individualism. Recently, Sweden's Minister for Social Insurance stated, "The most harmful thing for a child is when their parents don't have a job to go to." She said that while presenting a proposal to reduce financial support for families with 4 or more children. It reflects a common political mantra in Sweden. Children should see their parents go to work. But we never hear that children need to see their parents or that parents themselves matter. It is simply not a topic in Sweden. We have a generous parental leave system with quotas to promote equality. But women still take more unpaid leave than men take paid leave. And as a result, many women become financially disadvantaged. Almost all children in Sweden attend preschool, the term used for early childcare, as it is part of the education system. It is universally accessible and affordable, with parents paying only about 3% of the actual cost, which is roughly $17,000 per child last year. So if you care for your children yourself, you get no support. Municipalities are required by law to ensure children attend preschool. By the age 3, parents are contacted and informed about their child's right to attend. In practice, 2-year-olds spend more time in institutional care on weekdays than with their parents. Childhood is institutionalized. But that was in 2012. And since then, no one knows, because Sweden has not collected official data for more than 10 years on how many hours children spend in preschool or away from their families. Despite the lack of research on the long-term effects of early childcare, there is strong pressure for all children to attend. Norms are very strong. Few know that this is linked to the EU's Barcelona targets, which aim for 45% of children under 3 and 96% of those aged 3 to school age to be in childcare by 2030. The goal is not the child's well-being, nor women's freedom of choice, but economic growth through women's participation in the workforce. One of the greatest weaknesses in modern welfare design is the lack of holistic and long-term view. Children's well-being cannot be separated from the well-being of the adults who care for them. If parents are exhausted, stressed, or time poor, children feel it, and no curriculum can replace that. Research shows that stable attachment, emotional presence, and safety in the early years literally shape the architecture of the brain. When these conditions are missing, the costs for both individuals and society are immense. We know better, and we must act wiser. Family policy cannot only be about employment rates or GDP. It must be about human development, about raising and caring for the next generation in a more conscious way. Nobel laureate James Hickman has spoken at our 2 conferences, Foundation for the Future, this year, once in London and once in Helsinki. And he has shown that small early investments in parents, especially in mothers, have positive long-term effects. Support doesn't mean replacing families with institutions. It means empowering them from within. Fully functioning families need trust and not steering or suspicion. Perhaps this is exactly what social development must rediscover. Trust, the same trust that once built our societies, can rebuild them. Supporting parents in their role strengthens children and the very foundation of democracy. In 1995, the World Summit for Social Development recognized the family as the basic unit of society, essential for social development and deserving of support. Nearly 30 years later, in many places, families haven't been strengthened, they have been weakened. Social sustainability begins in the family, where caring, close relationships form the foundation of society. True progress doesn't come from bigger systems, but from deeper relationships, human connection, and trust. When care and women's unpaid work are counted and properly valued, when the invisible becomes visible, we will no longer need artificial systems where others take our place in caring for our children when they need us the most. When every child's needs are met, only then can we create real and lasting change. Let us build policies that trust families and trust in parents, so they can raise children who trust the world. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Madeleine, for all that you do. Your words remind us of what truly matters and help guide our steps forward. It is also my great pleasure to greet Ms. Anne Fennell, President of the European Federation of Parents and Carers at Home from Belgium. Ms. Anne is also the President of Mothers at Home Matter in the United Kingdom. Her advocacy gives voice to millions of parents whose unpaid care system or societies. She calls attention to what economists often overlook, that caregiving is not a cost, but a contribution, one that nurtures the human capital of the next generation.
It's a real honour to be invited to speak at this side event at the Second World Summit of Social Development. I've been asked to speak about the UK approach in enhancing policy visibility for mothers and caregivers. My name's Anne Fennell, and I chair the organisation in the UK, Mothers at Home Matter. I'm also president of the European Federation of Parents and Carers at Home. We all know that care is fundamental to a well-functioning and happy society. At times when we are most ill or at our most vulnerable, care from those who love us, cheer us up, make us better, protect and support us, get us back on our feet again. We know that our babies, young children, teenagers, the vulnerable and elderly thrive when cared for and engaged and protected by those they love, those closest to them. But do we value this work of unpaid care here in the UK? We do have a mechanism for quantifying the work of unpaid care. There is a government body called the Office for National Statistics, which is the UK's largest independent producer of official statistics. Its key function is to collect data by census, surveys, to record and analyse economic and social statistics. It measures GDP, inflation, the labour market, but it also makes a calculation of social indicators such as unpaid care. It is essentially measuring the economic value of unpaid work such as caring, housework and volunteering. In the Office for National Statistics Household Satellite account, the most recent update in 2016, adult unpaid care is explicitly valued as part of the household production economy. The Office for National Statistics estimates a total value of unpaid household work, including care, childcare, cooking, cleaning, at around 1.24 trillion in 2016. That's equivalent to 63% of GDP. Within that, adult care and childcare make up the largest share, together valued at around 382 billion, roughly 20% of GDP. So the ONS does this by assigning monetary value to unpaid care, using replacement costs. What would it cost if I paid someone to do this care? However, although we have the mechanism for accounting for care and tracking it statistically, we do not recognise it in GDP, and in the UK, we do not give it due recognition as something of value to society. Our organisation, Mothers at Home Matter, was set up because we believe the importance of care is missing from our national understanding of what is important. The government does use this data, but usually not to value care work itself, but to show that women are doing the bulk of care work and that this is unfair, holding back their careers and their meaningful participation in the economy. We're not saying this is the most valuable work to society, and we value those doing it. Why not? Because it doesn't fit in with the economic growth models. Care done for love, although we can give it a measure, does not count as GDP, which in the UK government's eyes is a most important measure of value. Our policies here in the UK are driven by economic targets, GDP growth, getting mothers back into the workforce. If you transfer care from the home to the workplace, from the unpaid economy to the paid economy, you see a growth in GDP. It becomes valuable. But we are missing the real value of care. And how have we got to this point? I would like to start with a realm of ideas and the stories we tell ourselves. Ideas are very powerful and govern the way we see the world and the way we behave. So what are the ideas that govern us in relation to the family and the way we see care? The first is that we see care as a burden. Our children, our old parents, they're burdens like yoke clinging around our neck, holding us back, stopping us doing a more meaningful work. And the second way we view care is that the work we do, our value as women or as mothers, is in our contribution to the economy. We don't look at the value that we give to society by caring. Economic activity seems to be the only measure that counts in our society. The value of mothering, fathering, or caring for our family counts as nothing. So what does that tell you about how we define success, ambition, well-being? We do not measure the happiness of our children, the strength of our relationships, our compassion, our wisdom. Our metric of value is the growth of GDP, which measures everything except that which makes life worthwhile. So when these ideas govern the way we think of our children and the family, then our family policies reflect these ideas and the problems we think we have. We see care as a burden, so we need others to do it. We need the state to step in and pay for it. We need to grow the economy. Mothers who do unpaid work are seen as economically inactive or unproductive. This is a problem that needs fixing. We need to get mothers back into work. Therefore, we need childcare, and we separate mothers from their children. The solutions to the way we see care are therefore to get someone else to care rather than recognise the value of care work itself and how important it is both for mothers themselves and for the recipients of care. So we set up targets to make sure mothers are not out of the workplace for too long. You've got the Barcelona targets in Europe, and now in the UK we have free childcare for babies of 9 months to remove the obstacles from mothers working. This is not what most mothers want. They want to be with their babies, and babies want to be with their mothers. There's also no evidence that this is in the best interest of the child. And what is the effect on children and family life? We're universally seeing a rise in mental health problems amongst our children, a rise in anxiety, depression, behavioural disorders, and self-harm at younger and younger ages. We are medicating for these problems, but we are not getting to the root of them. We're seeing a rise in sickness and stress levels amongst mothers. We also face a fertility problem, with many young women not wanting children or leaving it too late so that they cannot have the children that they would like. The elderly are lonely and isolated. So how do we get a different policy which values those doing unpaid care? It starts with a different narrative, a new set of governing ideas. At Mothers at Home Matter, we like this one. The children are a blessing. Raising children and the work of care is a joy. Our parents and grandparents are worth honouring and caring for. Mothering, fathering, caring is of great value to children, to the elderly, and to society. Care and love are critical in forming the foundation of strong relationships and resilience. Care needs time, patience, continuity. The economy is important. Wealth is important. Productivity is important. But without care, without love, without connection, without all these things, they become meaningless and empty. All these things are nothing. In the UK, we have focused our priorities on the material world and do not recognise unpaid care. Most people on their deathbed, when they look back at what they regret in life, it is not often about working too much. It is that they have not connected with those they love. We are in danger here in the UK of leading stressful and very busy lives with no space to give care for those who need it. It's time to change our story, and so I hope this conference will help us find a way to do so. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anne, for your inspiring words and for the meaningful work you do every day. And now I have the pleasure of introducing someone with whom our foundation has enjoyed a long-standing and close cooperation. Over the years, she and her colleagues have been our partners in numerous events and projects, always working with dedication, to support and empower those in need. Please welcome Ms. Zsuzsanna Márton, President of the Association of Family Organization in the Carpathian Basin. In her presentation, she will focus on Central European Family Support System and regional good practice. Her organization brings together family NGOs across borders from Hungary, Slovakia, Romania, Serbia, and Ukraine, proving that cooperation among families can overcome political and cultural divides. Her works is a living example of solidarity in action. Please, Zsuzsanna, the floor is yours.
Dear colleagues, distinguished delegates, thank you for the opportunity to speak here at the United Nations at the Second World Summit for Social Development. It is an honor to join this virtual solution session and to contribute to our shared discussion on how family well-being connect to social inclusion and sustainable growth. My name is Zsuzsanna Márton, and I serve as president of the Federation of Family Organization in the Carpathian Basin. Our network brings together 95 family organizations across 5 countries in Central Europe, connecting Hungarian communities who have lived in this region for centuries. In Europe, we have learned that strong families are not only essential for children's development and social cohesion, but they also contribute to long term economic resilience and demographic stability. When families receive support, society grows, not only in numbers, but in trust, belonging, and opportunity. Our goal is simple and deeply human: to strengthen families, support parents, and create communities where children can grow with security, culture, and identity. Through community programs, professional cooperation, family conferences, and cultural initiative, we help families stay connected both to each other and to their homeland. Families are the heart of every society. They raise children, transfer values, provide care, and create stability. If families are strong, communities are strong. Supporting families is not a cost, it is a long term investment into the future. The Carpathian Basin is a unique region where Hungarian communities live across today's national borders in 5 countries: Hungary, Romania, Slovakia, Serbia, and Ukraine. Our 95 family organizations in these areas share language, culture, and values. We cooperate to support families where they live so they feel safe, connected, and confident to stay in their homeland. Family support varies across the region. Hungary provides comprehensive support through tax reduction, housing programs, and childcare services. Romania offers national family benefits such as parental leave and child allowance, with local authorities and civil organizations complementing these programs. Slovakia focused on child tax bonuses and parental allowance linked to income. Serbia support young families with birth grant and housing program for few parents. Ukraine continue maternity leave and provide discounts for large families even in challenging circumstances. Hungary supports Hungarian families living beyond its borders. The educational allowance encourage parents to enroll children in Hungarian language schools. LGBT camps bring children together from across the region, strengthening identity and community. Maternity allowance and baby bonds help young families start life with security. Hungary invests in kindergartens, schools, and cultural centers and supports civil organizations such as the Racketeer Association and the Prosperity Program. This demonstrates Hungary's commitment to the unity of the Hungarian nation, no matter where family lives. Different challenges require different solutions. Local communities and NGOs fill gaps and reach family quickly. Cross border cooperation gives family more opportunities. When government and civil organizations work together, we create stability, inclusion, and hope. Our mission is to strengthen Hungarian families everywhere. We work so children can learn in their mother tongue, so parents feel supported, and so families are not forced to leave their communities. We want every child to have a future in their homeland, surrounded by language, culture, and traditions. Local program can shape global thinking. Youth mentoring and in child protection, family friendly workplaces, and community based services are practical solutions with global relevance. By sharing what works here, we contribute to international best practices and help build a Europe that truly supports families. Why family support matters globally. Families contribute directly to sustainable development. They transmit values of responsibility and care, shaping future citizens and leaders. Parenting support reduces poverty and inequality. Family friendly policies help parents remain in the workforce, strengthening economies. Supporting families is one of the smartest long term investments a country can make. Within our federation, member organizations work on a range of practical programs that truly support families. They offer horse assisted therapy to help children develop emotionally. They run programs supporting Roma children and youth. They provide employment and skills training for youth people with disabilities, including candle making and sewing social workshops. We mentor youth leaving child protection, helping them gain confidence and independence. We train 50 young volunteers from prime regions to become future community leaders. Our network organized family days at the Hungarian parliament, giving visibility and voice to families. We also bring families together through large Hungarian family meeting across the region. These community-based initiatives show how our member organization transform lives every day. Family policies is not only social policy. It is a demographic, economic, and identity policy. Every child who feels loved becomes a confident adult. When families thrive, society gains resilience and a stronger future. Strong families keep our community alive, and strong communities keep our nations together. Thank you for your attention and dedication to families. Let us continue learning from one another and ensure that every family receives the support it needs. Because when families are strong, everything else can grow stronger too. Thank you very much.
Dear Ruranna, thank you for your invaluable contribution today. We sincerely hope to continue our cooperation in the future and to keep making a meaningful impact in the lives of those who need the most. And now we arrived at the roundtable segment of our event, a space where diverse perspectives meets. Through this session, you'll hear from experts who each approach family and social development from a unique, let's say, angles. Together, their insights from a fuller picture of how inclusion, opportunity, and resilience can grow within our societies. Let us begin with Ms. Margit Batthyány-Schmidt, President of the Hungarian Women's Union, who will speak about the challenges rural women face and the European programs that aim to support them. Margot works passionately for rural women and community development, and ensuring that women outside urban centers also have access to opportunities and recognition.
Good afternoon. My name is Margit Batthyány-Schmidt. I am the president of the Union of Hungarian Women Association. First of all, I'm very happy and thanks for the invitation to Judith Regers that I could participate on this side event. The Union of Hungarian Women Association was founded in 2013 following an international model and with the intention of filling a social gap. We founded the Union of Hungarian Women Association with 17 founding members. The UHW stands for today as one of the best examples in Hungary of genuine society-wide value creation, focusing on shaping a positive future for families living in the rural areas. Our association continues to grow. We now have more than 70 supporting members, reach over 5,000 people annually, and have participated in nearly 250 events per year. Our operations are financed through grants, domestic and international tenders, and donations. Our main goal is to support rural women, enhance their role within the family, improve their quality of life, preserve their physical, mental, and emotional well-being, and encourage entrepreneurship. Since 2019, the UHW holds special consultative status with the UN Economic and Social Council, UN ECOSOC. Since 2017, we have participated the UN CSW Commission on the Status of Women in New York, organizing its own accompanying programs both online and offline. In collaboration with FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of United Nations, we organize joint events and showcase Hungarian best practices, and together we produce the booklet, Practical Guidance for Beginner and Experienced Women Entrepreneurs in Agriculture in the Rural Area. EU relations, the Union of Hungarian Women Association is an official member of the COFACE, Families Europe, and Women Entrepreneurship Platform. And there I also work as a vice president. The UHW was the only Hungarian partner in the Granting Access to Employment and Entrepreneurship and Agriculture for Women international project, implemented from 2022 to 2025. Its goal was to create a pan-European digital ecosystem for women wishing to start businesses or careers in agriculture or related fields. As the only Hungarian partners, the Union of Hungarian Women Association participated in the Grapes of Change transnational project, which aims to eliminate gender-based violence in the workplace and wine sector. The Enhancing the Quality of Education for Agripreneurs in the Hungarian-Serbian border area projects seeks to create a digital learning and collaboration platform for women working in agriculture. One of our best practices is the talent mentoring and education program, which has been approved in the Interreg Europe Good Practice database. We are very proud of it. The Talente program was funded by the international agricultural company, Corteva AgriScience. The program was launched from the first time in 2021. In 2023, we did it second time. It was a Zoom-based program with micro-project competition at the end. All in all, we educated 70 people covering all counties from Hungary. Most of them were from the least developed part of Hungary. Participants were age of 30 and have 2 or 3 children. Participants came from diverse background, producing healthy products, set up a herd farm, making cheese, offer countryside tourism services, growing veggies, drying fruits. First, second, and third prize from 70 applications received totally up to $20,000 support and private coaching. We are working on continuing this program. Kopa-Kodzsega Women's Innovation Award 2025, Vizine Horváth Mónika, Mayor of Szent István-Baksa and nominee of the National Chamber of Agriculture, has reached the top 5 finalists of the Kopa-Kodzsega Innovation Award for Women Farmers 2025 with her innovative project Goat Secret under the mentorship of the Union of Hungarian Women Association. The theme for the 2025 award is Women Making Waves in Sustainable Water System. Out of 42 applicants, the 5 finalists were selected from Hungary, Belgium, Poland, Italy, and Ireland. The Goat Secret project combines traditional soap making with modern sustainability practices. Monica produces handcrafted goat milk soaps. The manufactory also employs 6 local residents in a village of 300 inhabitants. She brought change and helped to elevate the family's quality of life through providing them this job opportunity. Through Goat Secret, Monica demonstrates how rural traditions can become innovative, environmentally conscious, and community-building forces. About the UNESCO, in 2025, we celebrate the 250th anniversary of Countess Therese Brunswick's birth, the founder of the first kindergartens in Hungary and the pioneer of Hungarian pedagogy, education of women. The Hungarian National Commission for UNESCO invited the Union of Hungarian Women Association together with the Tokaj-Hegyalja University to actively participate in organizing this anniversary year. We organize a theater play and many interesting programs too. I'm sorry, but I had only 5 minutes, so I hope that you can see how we are working. Here you can get our contacts. So thank you very much for your kind attention, and I'm grateful for the Parents House Public Benefit Foundation for the invitation. This is our contact information. Feel free to contact us if you have any question or ideas. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Margot, for shedding light on the realities and strengths of rural women and for reminding us that community development begins with listening to those close to the land. From the field of rural life, we now turn to the world of science and academia, an other area where women's voices and talents continue to shape the future. Our next presenter, Ms. Katalin Balázsi, Honorary President of the Association of Hungarian Women in Science. She will share her thoughts on how women in science contributes to innovation and social change, showing that intellectual contribution and family life can strengthen, not exclude one another.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank the organizers for the kind invitation to be a part of this great event. I'm serving as a honorary president of the Association of the Hungarian Women in Science and also as a head of the laboratory at the HANREN Center for Energy Research here in Budapest in Hungary. But only a few words who we are. Our organization was launched in 2009 with only 10 female researchers aimed at creating an organization in Hungary that works to ensure that recognition in scientific field is based solely only the professional competencies. It is a non-governmental organization established for supporting girls and women in science and technology. Nowadays, the countrywide organization covers more than few thousand scientific researchers, and we creating the own special activities for promotion of science. The aim of, for example, our biggest activity is a Girls' Day, to make the STEM professionals more attractive to the secondary school girls, thus contributing to lessen the high skills workforce shortage in the tech sector in the long run. The Girls' Day action started in 2012, and now we have more than 20,000 girls, young girls, in more than 50 towns, acting in more than 500 schools, more than 200 companies, larger, biggest, smaller companies, universities, and also the research institutions. For example, we have the own ambassador network. It's a countrywide network gathering together talented secondary school girls with one-day meetings. Usually it's mostly on Saturdays because the schools organize for the members on a monthly or quarterly basis. Ambassadors are willing to serve as role models among their peers. Currently, 100 ambassadors from the different parts of the Hungary, representing close to the 90 schools. Ambassadors can develop soft skills, including how to prepare the scientific presentation or a media appearance. They can expand the technology knowledge or visit the different companies. But it's very important action is the International Day of Women and Girls in Science, adopted in 2015 by the United Nations General Assembly to promote the full and equal access and participation of women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, named the STEM field. Showcasing excellent female role models, promoting flexible, inclusive working environments, and providing gender equality training to team members can help to create and appreciate working environment for the next young generation, mainly in the STEM field. February 11 is the day which reminds that women and girls play a crucial role in science and technology communities, and that all participation should be strengthened. We are talking about not only the different STEM field, STEM research on this day, but also the engineers and informatics is very important. Ceramic science or STEM field are one of the most interesting and exciting research fields that combines traditional with modern technology. I'm glad that more and more women are contributing to these fields. Now it's a time to recognize women's contributions in the STEM fields and innovation, smash stereotypes, and defeat discrimination against women and girls in a science. We can do it together, giving it our all, and teamwork and collaboration are our powerful forces. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Katalin, for that inspiring reflection. Your message shows how curiosity, creativity, and equality go hand by hand in shaping the knowledge societies of tomorrow. Now, we move from the world of science to the heart of family life. Mr. Raúl Sánchez, Secretary General of the European Large Families Confederation in Spain, will speak about how policy can strengthen large families, those who carry forward not only traditions, but also the social fabric of Europe. We extend our thanks for his leadership in advocating for large families, those who keep Europe's demographic balance alive and ensure the transmission of value across generations.
Hello, thank you for organizing this interesting side event. According to a study published in the Lancet magazine, in 75 years, only 6 countries in the world will have a fertility rate sufficient to replace their generations. Today, in many countries, pets are replacing children. For example, in Spain, we already have 6 pets for every child under 14. The consequences of this situation are obvious for a welfare system that is based precisely on the replacement of one generation by another and make it unsustainable to maintain pensions, healthcare, infrastructure, and economic growth. These are the figures in Europe now. The average fertility rate is 1.38 births per woman. Of the 200 million European households, 76% have no children, while only 24% have children. Of those with children, 12% have one child, 9% 2 children, and only 3% have 3 or more children. Only a quarter of children in Europe have 2 or more siblings now. Having children is a reason for more poverty. 16% of families with one child, 17% of families with 2 children, and 32% of large families. These figures show that the situation of large families in Europe is not good. We suffer social, labor, and economic penalties, social stigmatization, and an ever-increasing risk of poverty and social exclusion. When we sometimes say that large families today are heroes, we mean that being a large family is fraught with difficulties. After years of trying different solutions, such as financial transfers for children, measures to reconcile work and family life, etc., to no avail, and seeing that demographic winter occurs in both rich and poor countries with or without support measures, we are coming to the conclusion that the problem lies in the social and cultural model we have developed, in which only individual well-being and professional careers are a priority above family, and therefore children are seen as a problem rather than a social asset, no matter all the help we want to give them. But how can we change this model? In 2019, our confederation launched the European Network of Family-Friendly Municipalities, present in 170 municipalities from 11 European countries. 10 are the keys to success that we can draw for the practices that are working well. First, recognize the central role of families in society, the economy, and sustainability, and to this end, incorporate the family perspective into all legislation. Second, establish a position in all levels of governments to develop family-friendly policies and address demographic challenges. Third, defend the right to have the desired number of children and the right of each child to receive the same support without discrimination on the basis of number. Fourth, clearly distinguish and separate family policies from social inclusion policies, considering them an investment in well-being and the quality of human capital. Fifth, promote and support family-friendly municipalities by naming, for example, every year the capital of families as is done with smart cities, green cities, and cultural cities. 6th, promote and encourage family-friendly companies and ensure a work-life balance for parents and careers. 7th, recognize the role and value of unpaid care work in the education and well-being of children. 8th, work closely with organizations representing families and improve research and studies on families and their well-being. 9th, to develop a strategy for large families which encourages to increase financial and other types of support proportional to the number of children. 10th, to develop the large family card, a non-financial support measure to facilitate mobility and access to sports, cultural, and educational programs, preventing the economic and cultural poverty of large families. Do we want to solve the demographic winter? Then let us promote a family-friendly social and cultural model in which having children is treated as a positive value, recognized at all levels, and in which large families are a model that can be realized and developed with the support of the whole of society. Large families make a significant and specific contribution, enriching social and cultural diversity, economic growth, and social cohesion, while also representing an important demographic factor. They promote a sustainable lifestyle with a circular economy of scale as a natural breeding ground for solidarity, sharing and caring, creativity, teamwork, and mutual support. In a world where there are no longer brothers, cousins, or uncles, large families reestablish the family network as the best social policy against poverty and loneliness. That is why the 21st century must be the century of the family revolution, in which the family dimension of people should be recovered and given space. Our future is at stake. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Raul, for reminding us that supporting families means supporting the future in every sense of the word. At last, but not least, finally, we turn to a topic that touches many lives, yet is often overlooked: the situation of single parents. Ms. Anna Nagy, founder and head of Single Parent Center in Hungary, will share her experience and insights on how community programs can help single parents' family thrive.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It is a real pleasure to be here with you today. According to estimates, there are about 320 million children whom the world hardly thinks about. These are the single-parent children. Just some numbers and statistics about them. 23% of US children under 18 live in single-parent families. In Europe, close to 8 million families lack one parent. It means that about 14% of all households with children live with only dad or only mom. The risk of poverty or social exclusion in single-parent families with children is above 43%, which means that it's around twice as high as that for other families with children, which is around 20%. There is an urgent need for targeted help and support systems. Children in single-parent families face not only financial, but also emotional challenges. Their stories always start with a trauma, no matter how they become single-parent children. There are big red flags to show that these invisible children are in urgent need, and we need to take serious action to help them. We have to see that there is no global minimum standard for single-parent families, and there should be, there must be. There are several European NGOs supporting single parents, and what I have brought you is a good practice from Hungary about how to make invisible children visible. It is called the Single Parent Centers. Just to give you some background, we live in a country of less than 10 million people, and in this country we have 341,000 single-parent families raising close to 500,000 children. Single parenting isn't just about one parent being absent from the family, it's about every single part of family life. We in the Single Parent Center think that these families need a complex approach. The first Single Parent Center opened more than 7 years ago, and the second one 4 years ago, both in Budapest, our capital. We offer families tailor-made help in crisis situation, financial help, and practical help such as lawyers, psychologists, tutors, labor market assistants, counseling, and so on and so forth. In the last more than 7 years, we have helped more than 35,000 families. We have offered more than 80 services and supports. We have 2 centers in Budapest. We have a national network, and we also have a network of Hungarian families beyond the border. Since September, we also have a Starlight Center, which is a development center for disabled children growing up in single-parent families. We help a family in every hour, weekends and holidays included, and what we offer is complex and personalized help. Practical help, not only services like lawyers, psychologists, tutors, but also housing, childcare, camps and holidays, glasses, donations, and a lot of different things. But NGOs alone won't and can't solve all the financial difficulties of families. Since 2022 in Hungary, the state has been pre-financing alimonies that the absent parents don't pay. In Hungary, it affects close to 25% of the children who are entitled to have this alimony. Also, orphan support was doubled, which is a big help for families. Not only financial support is needed, but also help to recover. Isolation and solitude are the #1 problems of these parents, sometimes even bigger than financial matters. These are our moments. These are some stories of our lives and of our everyday work. So the question, why bother with single parents' children, is obvious. Because there are too many children who live in such families, and we cannot leave them behind. Because poverty rate in these families is too high. We, decision makers, NGOs, and grown-ups have to invest in the future. These children are worth the effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anna, for offering such a heartfelt and realistic view of single parenting and for showing how resilience grows through community and care. Thank you very much. Together, all of you represent the diversity and the unity of the European family movements, and it is my great honor to be with you today. And for the families and the For Families Group Europe, we was created to make sure that these many voices, programs, and experiences are heard beyond Europe at the United Nations and in global policy discussions. Our alliance brings together organizations with UN ECOSOC consultative status, including Parents House Foundation in Hungary, HARO in Sweden, FIFAF in the United Kingdom, and ILFAC in Spain, and also help other initiatives voice heard. We are united by a shared belief that family is not just a private matter, but above that, a public good, and a key of driver of a social sustainability.
Dear colleagues, friends, and everyone who joined us online today, First, a heartfelt thank you to all our speakers for sharing your knowledge, your experience and dedication to families. Your contribution have made this event truly inspiring, and I encourage you to continue your work with passion and commitment, because nothing could be more important than this work. Thanks also to Judith, Violetta and the team from Parents House in Hungary for organizing this event. Today, one message is clear. Families are the foundation of resilient, inclusive and sustainable societies. Families care for children, pass on values and create stability. Supporting them is not a cost. It is an investment for the future. From Hungary, we learned how family-centered policies can make a real difference. Tax exemptions, parental benefits, housing support and childcare programs have encouraged more births, strengthened marriages and improved health outcomes. Strong families make strong communities, and economic growth must serve families, not the other way around, as Dr. Sofia Kons, Hungary's State Secretary for Family Affairs, reminded us. From Sweden, we learned the importance of time, presence and choice. Generous parental leave and childcare are essential, but families must also be given more choices as they still face pressure to prioritize work over care. Trust is another cornerstone, just as the Nordic countries once relied on deep trust between citizens and the state. Supporting families requires trusting parents to care for their children and recognizing their essential role. Policies that replace care with institutions weaken this trust, and policies that support families restore it. From the UK, my dear colleague Anne reminded us that value of unpaid care work. Care given out of love is largely invisible in economic measures, yet it is central to both children's and society's well-being. Recognizing and supporting this care is crucial. Europe faces demographic challenges as highlighted by the European Large Families Confederation. Fertility rates are low and large families often struggle with economic and social pressures. By supporting families of all sizes and valuing children as a gift to society, we can reverse this demographic winter and build stronger, more connected and family-friendly communities. Millions of children grow up in single-parent families, facing higher risks of poverty and social exclusion. Holistic support, financial, educational, legal and emotional, is needed to ensure these children have the care and opportunities they deserve. Empowering women, especially in rural areas, is also central. Mentorship, entrepreneurship programs and community support help women improve their families' quality of life, preserve culture and build resilient communities. When women thrive, families thrive and societies benefit. Finally, regional cooperation shows the power of networks. Across Central Europe, family organizations work together to strengthen families, preserve culture and provide education and childcare. Youth mentoring, family-friendly workplaces and community programs demonstrate that supporting families is one of the smartest long-term investments a society can make. Across all these examples, one thing is clear. Strong families, whether large, single-parent, rural or cross-border, are the heart of society. Policies that empower parents, value care and strengthen communities create societies where children can grow up in a safe, loving and supporting environment. As the 1995 World Summit for Social Development affirmed, the family is the basic unit of society. And to close, let us remember the words of Judith Regosh: when families are respected and supported, the world becomes humane. Thank you very much.